up with it!
The Patriots pregame show is the world's largest virtual tailgate, featuring fans of the 6-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
Brady under center, gives to Michelle, runs it left, a dive to the end zone. Touchdown Patriots! Michelle for 6.
That's the offense I know. That's the offense we love.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to do the grilling as your hosts. This week, the Patriots are on the road against the Miami Dolphins.
James White cuts it under the right arm, cuts it upfield, driving forward, diving to the goal line. A touchdown and a title for the Patriots.
I can't believe it.
Hardy, Paul Perillo, and Mike Dussault are here to get you ready for the game.
It's football time, fellas. Let's get into it.
Now, live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, Patriots Nation, welcome to the Patriots pregame show presented by Dunkin'.
It is indeed. It's Hardy, it's Deuce, it's Paul Perillo, and we are here for Week 15 as the Patriots visit the Miami Dolphins. Gentlemen, I think this game today has something going for it in that it is one of two games today that I think I and the most of the country would be interested in. What a garbage lineup for the 1 o'clock games. Have you looked at them?
Oh, really? No, I hadn't really noticed
bad.
that.
No, I was just enjoying having the games yesterday and a little extra football.
I tell you what.
I didn't realize.
There was a game last night that I found to be interesting. Actually, both of them. Compelling football games today, going up against Jacksonville and Baltimore.
Go Jags.
Texans and the Colts.
Go Texans. I just assumed we'll play the role of Deuce.
That's where we're at. Come on.
Lions, Tennessee.
We need some help, baby.
Go Lions.
Go Lions. Yeah, all right. What are you talking
Anything
about?
else? These are all compelling
really,
games. They're all kind of the same
huge
as this
to the
one,
path.
really.
Huge to the path.
Except for the Jacksonville.
49ers, Cowboys.
Yeah, you got me there.
Even your mic couldn't make it through that one.
I tell you. There's that Kansas City, New Orleans game later on today.
Yeah, that's probably the game of the day.
That's the game of the day.
Drew Brees is back.
Yeah.
So evidently the week of practice went well.
I guess.
That was the whole thing,
Ribs are
depending on
fine.
the week of practice.
But today, with the path still alive, the pathmaticians telling us there is between a 2 and 4% chance of the Patriots still making the playoffs at 6-7 on the season, visiting the 8-5 Miami Dolphins. The Bills taking care of their business last night. But okay, now before we fall all over ourselves, crowning a new leader in the AFC East, let us just take a moment to understand that the path is still there. There still is a chance.
They are not mathematically eliminated.
No.
That is correct.
That is correct.
I think it's Baltimore. That's the problem. Baltimore is not going to lose.
Baltimore?
Two of those last
Where's
games.
that?
Baltimore.
Like it really doesn't matter, okay? Flash with the
I know. They just need so many teams to lose so many games. It's hard to imagine it's going to happen.
Yeah, it would still be kind of funny to just make it go to a tiebreaker though. If it would they missed the playoffs.
Oh, they're not
going to
miss on a tiebreaker.
They can't. Okay.
Well, I mean, it could.
It could.
I can't control who the team is that they're tied with.
Yeah.
But, like Baltimore is. If it was just them in Baltimore, they beat
tied.
Baltimore.
Right.
So
yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh well, not to be. But hey, Miami. It's a big game for Miami too. I think the Patriots' path is small, but I think for Miami, this is a game they really need if they want to stay in it. So
and they did get the potential to move in front of one of the teams with the Raiders losing Thursday night.
Yeah.
Okay, so
in terms of your path,
there is something there.
Ninth?
Now, I will say at this point, I firmly believe that Bill Belichick does not believe in the path, that he does not believe that this is a team with true playoff aspirations.
I would agree,
and I would say
I dropped my pen.
Okay. No, go ahead. We'll wait. Oh, he can still hear us. We're not in a cone of silence here, Deuce.
And he's back.
I would say the biggest indicator of that is the fact that he has said, and I believe he will, start Cam Newton at quarterback for the remainder of this season. That is not something that one does if one feels they need absolutely to win games and then to go deep into the postseason. At this point, it is what it is. He's going to play it. But in terms of this game today, and nothing against Brian Flores, it's really more about the franchise. It's really more about the history of the two teams and how Miami has been an issue for the Patriots at times before, especially in Miami. So now Bill Belichick says, Look, there's too much needs to happen. I'm not thinking about the playoffs. I'm starting Cam Newton week after week. I am on record now, and so much to the point that I have said no more questions on the subject. Cam Newton is the starting quarterback for this team. I'm going with a guy who can't throw the football. That's how invested I am in trying to win out, make it to the playoffs.
Interesting.
However,
you have a different spin on that than most, then, right?
A little bit.
What?
A little bit.
I don't disagree with you, but I think most people think that because they're still alive, he's insisting on sticking with Cam Newton.
No.
You're saying because he doesn't believe they're still alive,
Correct.
he's sticking with Cam Newton.
Correct. Absolutely.
It's just a different way of looking at it.
But does that make him want to win today's game any less?
No.
I think he wants to win any game. He says that in the preseason games all the time. You go out in the field, and the guys that are playing, it's important for the people who are playing. That's the mindset.
Right.
Yeah. And if you can, talk yourself into believing it, of focusing on one game at a time and, wanting to beat the Dolphins and not getting too worried about paths or draft position or all that, you just go out and try to win this week. Then, if you can believe that, then it makes it a little bit easier in terms of the focus, I guess. But, it'll be hard after today to, go one way or the other. I think, it's going to be on one path or the other after today's game. So we'll see.
Before we get to our behind the enemy lines guest, someone who we've had on the show before, Alan Poupar of SI.com, Dolphin Digest. We have to get the keys to the game.
You've waited all week for it.
The whole team's in the locker room right now just listening to this, waiting to hear what you're going to say.
Here are Hardy, Paul, and Mike's keys to the game.
Why did you leave the keys up on the table? You wanted to. Keys to the game are brought to you by Hardy, Paul, and Mike.
We're all grooving right now. Everybody's got a little.
Without
I like
these,
this song.
Without these keys, the Patriots are destined to fail.
Yeah, we should give them to it earlier instead of wait until.
We should have a special meeting on Wednesdays
We'll
before
guys,
the install.
We'll all come in here.
Well, there's an issue with that. Sometimes we do not have the keys ready by then.
That's true.
And number two,
They come to me.
sometimes the keys are based on a pithy statement with no real substance behind them.
No,
until
never.
it is time to speak.
Correct.
We'll find out. But we're going to start with Paul Perillo, your key to today's game. Essentially, Paul,
Yes.
it's a key to a Patriots win.
Yeah.
You understand?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Not just everybody show up on time and
Make
sure the field's
listen,
ready.
I'm not going to lie. That has been my key to victory in the past. When the Patriots have had wagons, there have been times
Make
make
it to the
sure the
stadium,
bus
okay.
makes it to the stadium. That's been my key to the
Make
game.
sure there's gas.
right.
in the plane.
Speaking of which, I ran out of gas with my snowblower over the weekend.
Oh, I thought you ran out of gas.
Which is terrible.
Zoe,
Terrible.
Zoe ran out of gas in
Oh,
his car.
That's the Zoe's
it-
thing ever.
trying
with
to push it?
a car full of people
Oh, God.
driving up. Yeah.
And pulls over at
Yeah, meathead.
AAA.
No, he was like a quarter mile from his house, but he had to walk to his house and get a gas can and bring it back. I mean, who runs out of gas?
Right.
Like beyond the age of like 20. Like I could see like when you were a kid.
Today's-
I can make it.
Yeah.
Today's cars won't
with
let
the
you
countdown,
do it.
right? The countdown. They got the countdown up there. How many miles you got left?
The
right?
car will nag you to
Yeah.
within an inch of your life. It's like, hey, you need gas. I'm going to put up on your screen here the closest gas station. I will map it for you, jackass.
That's true too.
I'd pay money to have seen that walk though from Zoe, like having a walk a half mile through to his house in crappy weather, that people waiting in his car.
Great.
He's like sauntering back home.
But no, we're not talking about that or the snowblower.
Right, we're talking about keys.
I would like
Keys.
to hear about your snowblowing experience later on in
Later,
the show.
for me, this is about the rookie quarterbacks, and I think that's a real phenomenon with going against Bill Belichick. I think he generally is very tough on rookies. So I think torment Tua. Is that a pithy statement? Yeah. Kind of like
like
yours?
that.
Little
Torment
alliteration.
Tua.
I like it. a lot.
I think you can get after him a little bit, take away some of his early reads, make him sort of get off script a little bit. I think he's done a pretty good job as a young quarterback going in. It wasn't the easiest situation because I'm sure there were some veterans that were wondering why, with the season still promising, Brian Flores decided to go to him. I think it was the right move. I think it's proven to be the right move because I think he's getting better and better every week. I think the Dolphins are probably a year away from true contention. Maybe they squeak into the playoffs. Probably not this year. I don't think they're quite ready to. But I think Belichick in that secondary, the Gilmores, the McCourtys, those guys, show Tua a couple of things maybe that he hasn't seen yet and see if you can force a mistake. Now, that's been difficult. He only has one pick, one fumble. So they've done a really good job of protecting the football, but I think that changes today. Get some pressure on him and force some mistakes.
Yeah.
All right.
Love it.
Deuce?
Yeah, mine is...
And by the way, Torment Tua is not only pithy, but it makes sense. You can automatically identify what that means.
Sure.
So
Stay tuned.
That
because you may not get the next one.
Not always the case. Deuce, what is your key to today's game?
Yeah, for mine, I went 60 minutes, and I think we made the make it 60 minutes, make it to 60 minutes. I think that was a little miscommunication. I was saying my key should be make it 60 minutes. 60 minutes is my key, but that just starts with the start of the game to the end of the game, and I think this is going to be a dogfight. I think both teams are going to have their ups and downs, but and it's as much about the first minute of the game as the last minute of the game. I don't think I think you knew from the second they showed up against that Rams team that they weren't ready to go on that first drive, So I want to see them show up. I want to see them play hard the first minute, and they got to play, I think, all the way through the end because I think it's a game that you got to stick in. You're going to have to make plays down the stretch to close it out, I think. There's going to, like I said, I think there are going to be ups and downs. I think the Dolphins will have some success, but with the Patriots offense, without who they're missing, I just think it's going to be a rock fight, and they're going to have to pull it out at the end. And if they don't show up at the beginning, they're not even going to have that chance.
All right. My key to today's game can be summed up by one phrase. Miami mindset. You understand?
A lot of levels there.
You understand?
A lot of levels.
What does that mean?
Well, here's what it means. The Miami Dolphins have
I've been waiting all week to find out.
Me too. The Miami Dolphins have proven to be a thorn in the side of the Patriots at various times during the last 2 decades. They get a win when they're not supposed to. They somehow managed to score on a last-second play and get a win in what is otherwise a certain victory for the Patriots. So the mindset when you're playing Miami, and specifically in Miami, is to never take your opponent for granted. Now, I don't think that this game today shapes up to be the type of game where the Patriots have a 14-point lead with 6 minutes left in the game, and all they have to do is play smart and clock manage. I think it's going to be tighter than that. To your point, Deuce, I think it's going to be a bit of a rock fight. However, should you feel you've gotten the upper hand on the Dolphins at any point, remember to maintain the Miami mindset. This team...
Maintain Miami mindset.
Maintain Miami mindset mindfully.
I don't mind this key at all.
Don't forget this team loves to come up and bite you in the ass and just screw things up. Now they're not going to screw anything up for the Patriots today. I guess technically
it's going to be a little role
could.
Reversal.
They could.
Yeah. We're looking for the other way. We're looking to screw things up for Miami.
Go ahead and play spoiler like Miami has done to you. Take the Miami mindset and flip it.
Correct.
Right? Flip it for real. So there you go.
Wow.
That's great. What Deuce wants. Deuce wants to get back at the AFC East.
A little motivation from last year's debacle there at the end of the season for sure.
Everyone loves it. All right, so there we go. That is what we have for keys to the game today. We're going to hold off on taking any of your phone calls until A, you call, and B, until we get done with our Behind the Enemy Lines segment. With
Hardy's on fire today. It's like a 1 o'clock road game. It's just like, I got it. I got it. As soon as I got out of that bullpen today, I knew I had my stuff.
97, lots of movement, painting the corners. You can always email the show, though, and that is webradio@patriots.com. So, gentlemen, we need to talk, I would say, a fair amount about quarterbacks today for the Patriots and what's going to happen going forward. This is going to be a trend of ours for the next few weeks. I don't necessarily want to do it, but I think we're going to have to do it.
Yeah.
Aren't we going to have to talk quarterback and this team for
years.
A few weeks here? Well, maybe not. I don't
I
know.
hope not.
And I just want I think we should all be thinking about a couple of ideas that are out there. There's one in particular that I feel torn on, but I think it's probably one of the better options. It is one of the better options for the Patriots, but we'll get to all that a little bit later.
Good tease.
This quarterback that the Patriots will be facing today, I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch and view Tua over the last few weeks, but what are your thoughts?
mean, I'm impressed with him as a rookie quarterback, and it's interesting. Like Herbert, he's impressed me too. To get this solid crop of young quarterbacks, it's huge. And I think what stands out is just like Paul said, the lack of mistakes. The ability to look calm under pressure, and but still have that athleticism to escape. I mean, I think they've got themselves a find, and there'll be ups and downs. And I'm interested to see today what the Patriots kind of throw at him, how he responds to what they do, because we saw with Herbert, not quite as good as he had been in the past. So, but it's good for the league. It's good for the Dolphins. Might not be great for the Patriots.
Yeah, and I think that Miami's lack of weapons is really glaring in terms of all the guys that they have banged up. And you saw that they elevated a couple of players, including our old pal Isaiah Ford. We hardly
Revenge
knew ye. He got moved up from the practice squad because of all of the injuries they're dealing with, the receivers and tight ends and whatnot. The thing that sticks out to me about Tua is I think he's really, especially for a young guy, really, really incredibly accurate. Mm-hmm. But one thing on the negative side that really sticks out is I don't think he has a big-time arm. And I think that, I almost think back, Deuce, remember Chad Pennington after the shoulder surgery? Well, when he came out of Marshall, he had a really strong arm. He had all those problems with his shoulder, and he sort of became Frank Tanana, to stick with our baseball analogy. Yeah. So he had to sort of reinvent himself and figure out how to get by with the anticipation, because he had to make up for the lack of arm strength. And I think he was able to do it. I watched Tua now, and he kind of looks like that's all he's got a lot of change-ups, but doesn't really have the fastball. So I'm kind of anxious to see him over a full game, because it looks like the ball gets there, and he's like I said, he's incredibly accurate. But I wonder if maybe that lack of arm strength is just something that I'm imagining, or if it's truly there.
It'd be interesting how decisive he is, just in terms of if it's there and he needs it and he not sure who's going to get it in there quick. That'll be interesting.
There's a guy on the line who can answer all these questions for us about Tua as we go behind enemy lines.
The view from New England.
We go behind enemy lines.
But what about the view from the other side?
Well, I'm doing great, even though I miss being there with you guys.
And that's why you're our favorite pregame show guest every year.
You guys know you tell everybody that.
Time now to go behind enemy lines.
My God, it's coming right for us!
We go behind enemy lines to talk with our friend Alan Poupart from SI.com. Dolphin Digest on Twitter at @Poupart. That's Poupart. Fins. Alan, what's going on? Good to talk to you again.
Right back at you. What's up, fellas?
We're just sitting here talking about Tua. Has he been impressing you of late?
He's been solid. He's been progressing nicely. I was kind of hearing your scouting report, which was right on the money, in that he is very accurate. That's something he showed at Alabama throughout his time there. He does not have a big arm, and that's something that we saw at Alabama as well. So there's nothing been surprising there. We've been seeing is pretty much, again, as advertised, very accurate, good leadership, great poise. And the truth is that he's fallen into a great situation because the Dolphins have been so good on defense and special teams for most of his starts that he hasn't been asked to do a ton offensively, though there will be games where the offense will have to produce more. Last Sunday against Kansas City was one of those. And the Dolphins did manage to put up 27 points. Unfortunately, they had dug themselves such a deep hole that they weren't quite able to come back. But so far, so good. For Tua, he hasn't put up the kind of numbers that Justin Herbert is putting up with the Chargers, but it's different circumstances, different team. And the bottom line is the Dolphins are 8-5, and the Chargers are 5-9. So it's a good situation right now.
Alan, what are your thoughts on the weapons today? I know they're banged up, a lot of injury issues. Well, I'll be waiting for the injury report to come out, or the actives to come out. But what do you kind of expect from Tua today? What's he going to have to work with?
Well, that's a great question. The early reports Sunday morning are that it's looking possible that he'll have both Mike Gesicki and Devontae Parker in the lineup today, which obviously would be huge because those are the two main guys that he has in the passing game at his disposal. If either or both of those guys can't play, you're looking at a collection of guys who are not exactly household name. You mentioned Isaiah Ford, who Dolphin fans now seem to think is going to be a huge impact player, and unfortunately that's not what he is. He's a good, dependable receiver, but he's not a difference maker, as you guys saw in New England, where actually maybe you didn't see because he never got on the field. For the Patriots, which tells you all you need to know, that he's a great kid, great attitude, team first guy, will work his butt off, never complain. But he, as a wide receiver, he's not somebody who's going to make a major impact. And unfortunately, that's what they have right now. Outside of Devontae Parker, who has a hamstring injury, even if he does play, obviously there's going to be the concern that it's going to get aggravated. Same with Mike Gesicki and his shoulder. Early word Sunday morning was that it didn't look good for Jakeem Grant, but Jakeem Grant right now at this stage of his career is more of a returner and a gadget player than a consistent, dependable receiver. So you're looking at a wide receiver core that's rather nondescript, in an area certainly the Dolphins will have to upgrade in the offseason, along with the running back position, which is another issue.
Way back in week one, it looked to me like maybe the Dolphins were a little bit surprised with how much the Patriots ran Cam Newton, and that was obviously a huge part of that game. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on the defense for Miami. Since then, statistically, it's not great in terms of yards, but in terms of scoring, turnovers, third down defense, the Dolphins are as good as anybody in football. So do you think they're more prepared now maybe to deal with the Patriots, which it's pretty clear that they want to try to run the ball?
Yeah, and they've seen it now, So that should make a difference. And the Dolphins, for the most part lately, have been much better against the run. Now, granted, two of their last three opponents were the Jets and the Bengals. Not exactly great gauges in terms of where you are as a team. Last week against the Chiefs, they got burned by a jet sweep by Tyreek Hill. Outside of that, they held Clyde Edwards-Helaire to 2 yards per carry. So that was good work. And you have to know that they'll come into this game pretty much expecting the Patriots to focus heavily on their running game because their passing game has been so inconsistent. And that's really pretty much not how you beat the Dolphins defense. You do not beat it with the passing game unless you happen to be Kansas City and have all those targets. I mean, they're crazy. And even then, the Dolphins wound up forcing 4 turnovers. So they will get that done in terms of creating turnovers if the Patriots decide to be daring and throw the ball, which I don't anticipate. And I would think the Dolphins would be better prepared to stop the run than they were in week one. And if they're not, it's going to be a tough day here at Hard Rock Stadium.
Alan Pupar is with us right now. Alan, I wanted to ask you, a couple of weeks ago when the Steelers were still undefeated, didn't hear, at least, up here in Boston, anything from the 72 Dolphins contingency. Whenever the Patriots would go on a run, or generally when a team, jumps out to an 8 or 9-0 start, you start hearing from that, that group of 72 Dolphins supporters or former players. Was there any of that happening a couple of weeks ago before the Steelers lost?
Not really, but there are a couple of other factors at play here. And trust me, it's not strictly because it wasn't the Patriots this year who were threatening to match the perfect record. I think the factor is, number one, what's going on with COVID played a role. Number two, 2020 has been a bad year for the 1972 Dolphins in terms of guys who have passed away, including Don Shula, and then not only him, but Jim Kick. So there have been, a couple of deaths involving those guys. So plus maybe there was the feeling that the Steelers weren't necessarily as real a threat to the distinction of being the only perfect team as maybe some other teams before. Yeah. Because even before they lost to Washington, Steelers weren't necessarily, wowing anybody with the way they were playing. So I think you put together all those elements. I think that was part of why it wasn't nearly as vociferous down here in terms of rooting against the team that was still undefeated at this stage of the year.
Gotcha. All right, Alan, we always like to get a score prediction as we wrap things up here. So have you already made one for SI.com? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, I have, and I know that's one that's not going to be real popular down here with Dolphin fans, but I have bad vibes about this game. I don't like the matchup because what the Patriots do well on defense kind of counteracts what the Dolphins do on offense and vice versa. I do believe it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I wound up predicting Patriots 16, Dolphins 13.
Ooh, 16-13. Yeah. I like that. Okay, very good. Alan, hey, great to talk to you as always, and I hope you have the ability to enjoy your holiday season, and we'll talk to you next year.
Sounds good. Happy holidays, fellas.
All right, take care.
You too. Good luck, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
There he goes. Alan Pupar there joining us as we go behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
16-13. That's a very Hardy-like score prediction.
I'm right there with
You're going to hear that score later in the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of teen predictions this week. Low scoring.
Look, it's still an important game for the Patriots. It's an important game for the Dolphins. I wish I could say, there was a lot of juice around this game, but other than the fact that I think it's going to be watchable and there are elements to it that I am interested in seeing, there just hasn't been a lot of energy behind this game this week.
No, and Damian Harris being out, I think that's huge. He's been the offense a lot of these games. He's been the only guy that's been productive, and so now you're going to go back to Sony Michel
as
the lead back.
You want me to give you some path talk to get you excited?
You can try.
It's complicated.
All right, so here we go. All right, so first thing that has to happen is the Patriots need to run the table, right? They need to win all 3 games.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you just heard Alan. He's talked about all the weapons that are at either not going to be available or at well below 100% for the Dolphins. And he's right. The things that the Dolphins do well on offense coincide with the things that the Patriots do better on defense. Like they're not going to line up and be able to run the ball on you because they can't run the ball. First of all, they don't have a running back. They're all hurt. They're all out. So they can win the game today, okay? If you win the game today, then you move on. You give yourself another week. Well, the Bills clinched the division yesterday.
Yes.
Okay? I know they still have seeding and whatnot to play for, but you got the inevitable letdown coming next week. At home on a Monday night, the Patriots get up to play in a Monday night game at home. Yeah. Buffalo's feeling fat and happy. They're like breaking tables and stuff with the Bills Mafia with their hats and T-shirts. Yes, they have seating at stake.
But is it as important? It's never been less important than in 2020, the seating.
I don't know
if you factor in a home field.
Well, they have the home field, so that to me is the important thing. But I'd rather play like the 7th seed. Well, I don't know. Even then, you could make an argument. I'd rather play like Cleveland than say Baltimore.
That's what I'm saying.
So. The bottom line is you could get them napping next week, and then you're going to beat the Jets. So you have a chance to win your last 3 games if you can take care of business today.
Let me tell you something.
I'm not done. And then you got to start hoping for the upsets. Well, you got Gardner Minshew's back today for Jacksonville.
I feel good about it.
Right? Yeah. Even though they've lost 111 games in a row, Minshew hasn't played in some of those.
Don't sleep on Gardner Jakes Minshew.
Correct.
He is.
Minshew hasn't played in some of them.
Some of them. Well, he played in like the first 8 of them.
Forget about those, though.
But we're going to put those out to the side for now. The Ravens coming off an emotional Monday night win of their own against Cleveland, where they emptied the tank and lost a ton of personnel on defense, especially in the back end. And now Minshew's back. He can throw, unlike the guys that replaced him, Mike Glennon et al., Jake Luton.
Who gave you some deuce juice right now?
Okay. So, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying.
I'm just saying.
Just saying.
You get an upset, right? And all of a sudden, Baltimore starts to get a little tight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They start to get a little tight. And all it takes is like one more loss. Or, dare I say, Cleveland woke up and they said,
oh, we're still Cleveland.
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
I'm trying to make the playoffs.
All we need is one win to eliminate the Patriots. Wait, what?
Fall apart.
And all of a sudden you lose to the Jets. You lose to the Giants.
I would rather just focus in on today and maybe next week for the Patriots. I love that. I love the idea that they can win today and that you get the Bills napping next week.
Yeah.
Ironically, that's not that. I know I'm exaggerating and being a clown, but that's not that outrageous that could happen.
I'll tell you something that you would see as being the most outrageous that I think you're still all nuts for saying, oh, they're going to beat anybody, even the Jets in Week 17. Oh, you're going to beat the Jets. Are you?
Close last time. Yeah.
I also think if the Jets happen to be 0-15, right, and especially if Jacksonville wins a game, but if the Jets are 0-15, I think they're going to empty. I think they're going to really try to win that game.
I think so too.
No,
the Jets
are really going to,
against the Patriots.
I'd rather play the Jets be 1-14. Then I give the Jets no chance at all.
It is 100% the most important game they'll play all season. Their final.
If they're 0-15, they're going to try.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that matters, but I do think you'll get an effort. Now, it would help if Jacksonville, keeps losing too, because I think if Jacksonville still only has one win, if they both finish 1-15, Jacksonville gets the number 1 pick. I think.
It's. I like
I'll
that talk
check
about.
that. Yeah, I don't know. That is interesting.
In Jacksonville's favor.
Yeah. So
it is a weird spot for Buffalo next week, though, and not that it could be affected, but it's just a weird. Like, it's just as a team, you're like. You feel like you should pound this Patriots team. You feel like that'd be a great thing for your team to come in here.
I wish it was just a Sunday at 1 o'clock game,
because
then I really think there's a chance. I think the fact that it's a Monday night game, they played Saturday, they get an extra day. Even if they're celebrating today, they haven't lost any time to prepare, and then they get an extra day on the back end, and it's Monday night, right? Like Monday night still means something to most players. You know, the Sunday night, Monday night windows, I think they get up for a little bit more. So. Yeah, I'm reaching.
Just a weird spot to be in for them. Just for a number of reasons. Not to say that I can imagine them kind of being caught in the middle of the road with this game a little bit.
They are impressive, though.
They are.
Their defense is starting to play a little bit better. Everybody thought their defense was really good, and it played like crap for like 10 or 11 weeks. But the last couple of weeks, they've started to play a little bit better, and their offense just continues to roll.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think they're playing like the second best team in the AFC right now. I'd put them right there.
I think they're right up there behind Kansas City.
I think so, too. So let's get a couple of these emails here. This is from Russell in Arkansas. You guys think that not having fans has affected the Pats? Feels like in the past, both sides of the ball fed off the fan energy.
Everybody's got it.
It'd be one thing if there were teams that were playing in front of packed houses, but the best you're getting is these, 10,000 people.
I don't think fans have affected the Patriots as much as it's affected other teams. I don't know what it would have done for this offense this year.
Yeah, I don't either, but I just think the fact that nobody is playing in front of their normal home crowd.
Yeah, why would it affect the Patriots
it's not
more than anybody else?
Affecting the Patriots worse. Like I wouldn't say like, oh, can you imagine how much better Buffalo would be if they had their fans? No, like that's. Like everybody is playing without their fans. Yeah. Everybody. And the other part of that is look at the home road record.
Yeah,
the road teams actually have a winning record, I believe, right now.
You're right.
This late in the season, that's unheard of. So clearly the fact that there are no fans are making it much easier for visiting teams.
We have another email here from Adelaide, Australia. Good day, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Come on, give it to me, man. Come on. You know what I want.
How about a shrimp on the barbie? Is that what you're looking for?
You sound like you're
You sound like you're from London.
Good day, mate.
Oh, there we go. Even if the Patriots have shut down for the year, you're on fire, Hardy. Giving us a decent laugh at 2:30 a.m. Oh, want a Krusty impression? I can't do Krusty on command. That's not.
It'll come on later.
It'll come later.
Yeah.
It will.
Hi, kids.
Yeah.
Hi, kids. Sorry about this, kids. We got some real good commercials coming up. I swear.
Just gotta bait him a little bit.
I love the. That's my favorite part of the
Hey, the Patriots are playing the Dolphins.
Brad and the missus from Adelaide, Australia. Paulie, keep it up. Love you. Just keep it up.
Thanks,
just keep
Brad.
being you.
Just
That's
do
all
what
you
you
got to
do.
do. Just do you.
No.
And everybody loves Deuce.
Nothing for me.
Has anyone come in here and captured the hearts and minds quicker than Mike D-Train Dussault?
The
people
You know
love
what?
him.
And you know what happened this week? On like Tuesday or Wednesday, I can't remember.
Is this what you were talking about a little bit when I came in?
Deuce got angry.
I got mad.
Oh, no.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
What happened?
It was the awesomest thing ever.
Oh,
and I had
baby,
nothing.
what happened?
And I had nothing to do with it. After trying for 11 consecutive weeks to make him explode, he did it on a caller.
Yeah, I know.
Sweet Pea, what happened?
Well, we got into a lot of, Belichick talk this week.
Just a Warmups.
And somebody just said, that like the crown jewel achievement, and I don't even think I took it right, but that doesn't, as I've learned from Paul, it doesn't matter. All that matters is how you take it. It doesn't matter how they meant it. You can fly off the handle if you took it the wrong.
I learned that from watching Fred, who just moves the goalposts all over the place.
But no, it was just something about Justin Warwasser, and I just got mad because I felt like they were just leaving out some good rookies. That it hasn't been a total disaster, and I just want balance. Like that's all I'm asking for. And but it was
got
fun.
angry.
It was fun, and I got a lot of people
Yes, George.
That was
dynamic
great.
square,
Keep it up.
George.
I felt like people were so happy for me that I got mad finally. So
they dropped.
I'll try to keep it up.
No, that's good.
So watch it, Hardy. Watch it.
I don't even blame him for Justin Rohrwasser. I mean, they took a chance on a kid that they felt, just based on the tattoo, shared some sensibilities that other people did in the team, and they thought, hey, this kid will fit in.
That's not right.
That's not cool.
Very, very wrong.
Not good, Bob.
And I'll give
Here's
everybody.
Here's the thing about Rohrwasser. He's still around, isn't he? Practice
on the
squad
practice
guy.
squad.
Like he could end up being a player.
He could, but I'll give you a sign. It doesn't mean for sure, but it's probably not a very positive sign. Is that a lot of teams have dealt with injuries at kicker this year? I don't know why. A lot of different teams have had to use multiple kickers. While the kicking itself has been at historically high levels across the board, there have been some individuals like Dane Bailey, who's been killing Minnesota lately. There have been some individuals where teams have been dying for kickers, and no one has signed him.
I tell you what,
I think that's a really bad sign.
I will, for all my thing about kickers, I will rarely fault a team for trying to do something about drafting a kicker, about trying to develop a kicker, about working with them. And, we've seen it, with different guys. I mean, Nick Folk is a guy who really thought that he was going to be
great. Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Nick Folk, everybody.
There we go.
Yeah.
A guy that not only, continued to contribute, but has been the steadiest, most consistent player on your team in terms of putting up points. A guy that now they haven't asked him to do outrageous things. Yeah. He hasn't had to kick, field goals
55
yarders, 3 weeks in a row.
Well, he did have 50
51 for a game winner.
50 and 51 for game winners.
I mean, give the guy credit, and I will give the Patriots credit for even for drafting Rohrwasser, even if he didn't work out right away. Thank you for thinking about the kicker. From a guy who thinks there's not enough thought given into the kickers, I appreciate it.
It's because for some reason you think that they miss them all.
This is like the classic season, like back up Paul's whole argument is just like, figure somebody out. Like Nick Folk, just pick him off the scrap pile. He doesn't miss a kick since September.
What happens if your kicker goes down? You just go out on the street and find another one.
You got a guy that misses.
Pull him off the scrap pile.
Guy misses 3 out of 4, 4 out of 6. You go get the next stiff.
Meanwhile, guys like Deuce are over here losing sleep because they only, they're only 3 deep at the middle linebacker position. And it's like,
don't even get him started on defensive tackle.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Well, you've loved having 2 kickers. I mean, that just must have been peace of mind for you the whole season that if anything happens to Nick Folk, it's like we got a guy waiting and we're fine.
I think Bailey could kick. He's in there on kickoffs. Why couldn't you? Telling me he couldn't do it?
Sure
You're making my point.
The Patriots haven't been the problem. So let's talk to Tony in Canada here. Tony, you're on with Hardy and Deuce and Paul Perillo. It's
Tony has done it. It feels good.
Yeah. They spelled it 3 different ways, didn't they?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
What's up, Tony?
Hi.
Hey, I was listening to the show earlier, and Paul talking about how, we could maybe the path to the playoffs, as they say. You know what this game feels like? To me, it feels like a preseason game. I think it has about all the consequences of a pregame show. Or no, sorry, pregame.
Well,
it's not far off.
Not for the Dolphins, though.
Yeah.
But the Dolphins have something to play for. They're fighting for their lives.
That's true. Payback. So, I thought about asking you guys my question for you this week. If you were GM, which of the Patriots free agents that are on the team right now that'll be free agents next year, who do you think we need to really sign with that extra cap space? Who would you keep?
My top 3 would be Andrews, Guy, and Butler. Those would be the guys. I think they'll be able to sign James White too. And like going down the list, Demir Bird I think will be cheap again. Bring him back maybe again. But I think those are the guys that I would kind of prioritize. I think you're probably going to lose Joe Thuney. I think that's the big one. Burkhead, those guys are questioned. But I think Guy, you don't have much else other than him. And I think you saw the difference this year with Andrews. Just his leadership, the way he gets people lined up, kind of keeps the line in order. I don't think you want to lose Thuney and Andrews. I think he'd be cheaper than Thuney. Might be on the verge of his first Pro Bowl. So those are the guys that I'd kind of focus on. I just don't think they have a lot of proven depth at defensive tackle and inside the defensive line.
And I agree with Mike. I don't think the majority of those guys will cost a whole lot. Like, I think you should be able to re-sign their pieces for reasonable dough.
Yeah. Tony?
Do you guys think that Burkhead and White are both gone next year?
I think White's in a weird position just because of the season he's had, personally, and how the offense kind of changed. So he wasn't really productive. So it's a little bit weird situation for him. They haven't usually, I think, at that position. They develop guys, right? Like they get a guy and they have White waiting when Shane Vereen leaves, and so they're always thinking ahead with that spot. And it doesn't really seem like they've thought ahead right now. So that's why I feel like, just given the hard season he's had,
J.J. Taylor.
He's saying, I mean, are you ready? Maybe.
I mean,
it's a good question.
He hasn't done any less than James White or Shane Vereen did in their first year.
Yeah, I guess I'm just put off by his size and his
pedigree. That was a question.
Yeah.
I had a question at the end of that.
Yeah, and you're right. That's
and I would have said Rex
Burkhead.
I would have said absolutely will not be back until he tore his ACL. Now I think,
and then maybe it's like,
now
hey,
I think there's a chance.
You
rehab with us when you're ready. Here's the minimum, and we'll go. So I think there's a chance that he could be back.
I like that.
All right, Tony.
I wonder if any of those. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. I wonder if any of these guys are on Brady's speed dial.
Oh, James White?
James
Rex
White.
Burkhead?
James White, I could see.
That's the only one I think.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I don't think Brady's interested in coming back to play with the weapons that he wanted to leave.
No, how about we take Chris Godwin and we give them James White? I'll be fine with that.
That I'm all for that. Ian Rappaport, by the way, NFL Network.
Tony, thanks for the call.
Some contradictory information from our guest. Not good for the Dolphins. Source said they won't have Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, or Jakeem Grant. They will be very short-handed, according to Ian Rappaport. Wow. And if that's the case, then I really don't know where the Dolphins go. I mean, like, you're going to throw every pass to, like, Mac Hollins like they did in the fourth quarter of that game last week. I don't know. Miles Gaskin hasn't been activated, has he?
No. I think he's still on the COVID list.
I don't know where
they got nothing.
I don't know where they go.
So Patriots
DeAndre
defense.
Washington is the running back, I believe.
Like looking here,
I don't know. Is
Malcolm Lynn Bowden? So he's one of kind of like
is that
what's
the
Mac
guy?
Hollins?
What's the running back? Ahmed.
What's
his last name?
Ahmed. Oh, Salvin
Ahmed. That's just like me.
You guys are just making sounds now.
Pertaining.
What is it? Oh, what is it regarding?
So what is it pertain?
I'm an old acquaintance of hers. Lynn Bowden, Malcolm Perry, Mac Hollins, Antonio Callaway, Isaiah Ford, Durham Smythe, Adam Shaheen, and Chris
what are these
Myrick.
things?
Those are the Dolphins pass catchers today, according to Mike Clay.
Yeah. So there you go, Patriots defense.
Covers the Dolphins.
I would hope that they can kind of contain this.
Should be able to contain that group.
I would hope.
Well, we may have to change up our DraftKings choices then. I don't know. You want to do this right now, Matt? You want to do a little DraftKings talk? Let's do some DraftKings talk here. I
need to go first.
Such a diva.
I know.
I need to go first.
Can I do
guys?
Okay, seriously? You guys? I'm going to read this. Okay. DraftKings is the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. You can play for free for a share of over $1 million in total prizes with your first deposit. Just download the app today. Play free for over $1 million in total prizes on DraftKings, the leader in daily fantasy sports. Paul Perillo, who'd you pick today?
I picked Damiere Byrd, and basically, I'm going to tell you, I haven't had a lot of luck with my DraftKings picks, and I've been sort of trying to go all over the place with them. But the one week that I did have a lot of success is when I took a shot with Damiere Byrd, and he had a huge game. I think that was against Houston when he had the breakout game. So for that reason and that reason only, I went back to him. Plus, he's very affordable at $3,800. So I think it's a good value play. I think that Byrd and Myers have sort of established themselves as being two guys that are going to get targets every week. I don't know how many, and I don't know how successful they're going to be, but I think you could maybe look for 4 or 5 catches from Byrd today, and maybe he pops one in the end zone for you, and you get a nice fantasy day. But right now, it's hard for me to look at the Patriots' offensive weapons and say, that's the guy.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Or, so I'm going to go with Damiere Byrd because I had a lot of success going with Damiere Byrd in the past.
Very proud of you.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thanks. Like it. All right, there you go.
And I'm going to take a run.
Okay, you go ahead. You take a powder. And Deuce, who do you have for your Draftkings player this week?
Yeah, well, I went with Sony Michel with Damian Harris out, Rex Burkhead out. It's going to be probably a big Sony Michel day, and I think that means hopefully some goal line carries, maybe some touchdowns. Like Paul said, I don't know what you can predict from this Patriots offense today, but I think today it's probably a good bet that Sony Michel is going to touch the ball a bunch. So that's why I'm playing the odds there. I don't know. We got these numbers before Damian Harris had been moved out, so I don't know at 4,300 if he's still there, 4,300. But I think it's a pretty good deal for
might
a guy.
Be a little bit more than that now.
Yeah, I might have gone up a little bit, but he's gonna touch the ball a lot.
Well, I had selected Damian Harris earlier in the week, and then come to find out afterward that he's got an ankle.
Yes.
Suffered at Wednesday's practice.
Suffered an ankle.
He's got an ankle.
Yeah.
So I made what I think is probably going to end up being the best switch of the year.
You did.
I went with the Pats defense today.
No question.
I don't know how good they're going to be, but I have a pretty good idea of how bad the Dolphins could be today. And yeah, your defense gets credit for that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't matter.
Yards.
Right?
I mean, I think you got the best. I think you got the pick. Actually, I think we both kind of have the picks of the days on either side of the ball. Not to say, I guess you can only make one selection on the defensive side of the ball, which would be yours. But I think those guys lining up the way the game has. Michel's going to touch the ball a bunch, and you would think that Tua's going to have a tough time moving the ball without any weapons against this Patriots defense.
Plus, if you end up getting, something that, like a pick six today, or maybe, those special teams were so involved a couple of games ago against the Chargers, I'm sure they like that. That was probably fun.
Yeah.
Can you do that again today? I mean, I think you're going to have a lot of punts to return. I think you're going to have some opportunities there. So, yeah, maybe get them involved, and that'll help with the defensive points today that you could rack up on DraftKings, and at only $3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we've got the Patriots inactives here. So not too many major surprises. So Damian Harris, Dante Moncrief were announced yesterday. A little bit of a blow there with Moncrief on the kickoffs. He's been a little bit better.
It's going to be Gunner back there taking care of those.
Here we go again. Jawan Williams is a healthy scratch today, which is not a good sign for the season that he's kind of had. Hasn't really, been able to hold on to any real defensive role. He's kind of just gone back into a special teams kind of role with the team, and now he is inactive. So that's a little bit of a blow there at the receiver position. Not that Moncrief was doing really much. So Bird, Harry, Myers, Olszewski, roll with those guys, and big Damian Harris and James Whitegame. I'm sorry, Sony Michel and James Whitegame, and J.J. Taylor, as Paul mentioned, active. So we'll see if he gets back into the rhythm of things. Maybe he'll get a chance in these last few games to show what he can do.
All right, there you go. So there are the inactives for the Patriots as they get ready to take on Miami today. You want to go to Jason here in London? Let's talk to Jason here. 855-PATS-500 on the Patriots pregame social, fueled by Duncan. Jason, hello.
Hey, chap. I've got two statements here, and maybe it can go to you guys. The one thing that has annoyed me more than obviously the season and not going the way we want it is Madden, because just having Tom Brady as your quarterback in Madden is a lot better than Cam Newton. And that's quite annoying when you throw passes that would have been off normally. But anyway, second one is I'm quite happy the Buffalo Bills won the AFC and not Miami or New York. I don't know. I just hate them the least.
No, I'm with you on that. I do not have this this hatred for the Buffalo Bills. I think their fan base is. I think they've got a pretty decent amount of self-awareness. They know how ridiculous they are.
And they love it.
And they've embraced it.
Yeah.
I can't stand the idea of Miami winning because I don't think enough people in Miami care, and it would be just totally lost on it. And the Jets, no. I'm out on most things New York, and New York Jets are just one of them.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that, Jason. If it's got to be somebody other than the Patriots, let it be the Bills.
Although I will say right now, I feel like at this point we're at a very low hateability index for the other teams. It's not like it's like the Rex Ryan Jets that I just had a palpable hating of, and now you have a lot of Patriot guys in Miami, so I don't totally despise them. And like you said, I think Buffalo's gone about it the right way. They're still pretty rootable to me, but yeah, I'll still reserve the Jets as the no way never.
Yeah.
Good. You know it'll be funny if I phone later when Fred's in there and I tell him I want the Jets to win.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, give it a shot. See how that goes for you. All right, Jason. Thank you. Appreciate the call. Thank you.
Bloody hell was that?
What were you telling me, Matt? Are we done? Are we taking a break? Are we doing that?
Snap it.
All right, good. Let's just remind everybody of the current game day offer from Dunkin'. I did it. I do it every game day, right? I just order ahead on my Dunkin' app,
Love
right?
the deal.
Medium iced coffee.
Boom.
Oat milk, blueberry. Okay?
$1.
Right?
$1.
$1. What the is? Look at that. It's right there. You got to order ahead, but when you do it, swing in. It was ready. There. You know how people were standing there?
0.
No, like 6.
Really?
I'm like,
oh,
standing there. I used to feel a little bit guilty about it. I'm like, if you just download the Dunkin' app, which is free.
Yeah. Don't you love elbowing through those guys and you're like, scoot, and just grab yours.
And with the distancing, I'm a little sheepish about it. I step out. I'm like, I can see it right there. I know what my coffee looks like, and there it is. So go to Dunkin'.
It's got a shirt that says App Tapper.
That's right. Tap that app. Tapping that app. $1 medium coffee when you order ahead on the Dunkin' app. America runs on Dunkin'. Exclusions apply. Participation may vary. Limited time offer.
Order ahead on the Dunkin' app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Dunkin' fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
Please, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit.
The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
My Caleb sofa and love seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes. You look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount!
Ready or not.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
This is the place to play for $1 million in week 1. Draftkings, land of the millionaire. Football is back. Time to let your competitive streak. Download the app and take your shot at $1 million. DraftKings.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
If anything looked flammable and dangerous, it's that.
Yeah.
It looks horrific.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Matt, can you set up just like a two-way communication between me and the director? Is it Megan? Is she directing? I need to tell her privately, get a tight shot of Deuce for about 30 seconds while I finish my donut. Because I don't want to eat on camera, but I don't want everybody to know about it. Are we on?
We are on.
Whoops. All right, welcome back to the Patriots pregame social, fueled by Dunkin'. Let's go to...
I tell them that you want to be shown eating your donuts.
Tight mouth shot.
I have like 2 bites left, and I'm not going to be able to wait. There's no way. I got a better chance of getting into med school than I do of waiting until our next break to finish that donut.
Well, hopefully this is a long question.
We'll find out. Well, what are they going to do?
Ready? Go, ask.
They're going to go to a shot of Afis in Illinois? Go ahead. Afis, what do you got for us?
Do you think that we could legitimately trade for Carson Wentz in the offseason if we don't sign Cam Newton?
I was reading a little bit about that today. I know the contract issue is kind of the thing that everybody's concerned about, but I forget the exact details of how they explained it. But I mean, it seemed like they could still get him for I think it's a manageable under $25 million a year. For 2 years, I think it was something like 40 something. I don't know exactly what it is. It's tough. You got to be able to. You're going to have to bite the bullet on a big contract for him, no question. And I think that might be what'll hold you back. We'll get into this, I'm sure, but
yeah,
I think there are other guys that are
when Paul gets
maybe a
back
little
in
bit
here.
better choice, but I just think the sooner we can get to a young quarterback, a high draft pick, that the better. But not easy.
Afis, do you want Carson Wentz to be the quarterback for the Patriots?
No, I don't. I would rather trade for Matt Stafford. or get a
There you
high
go.
pick to the.
There you go, kid. All right, now we're talking. All right, we're going to talk about that more later. I don't want to draft a quarterback. I think you drafted a quarterback in Jared Stidham, and I think while he may not have been ready this year, or they may have decided to do something else for other reasons, I think you got one sitting there that enough people still believe in. Unless the guy you want is there, you need too many other things.
What would you just take, like a third, fourth rounder again? I mean, I hear you on the first round. You might be out of the top couple guys that you want, and
I'd
you're
rather
kinda
you
in
take
no
another
man
kicker.
Make sure you're covered there first.
I despise that this team has forced us into draft talk.
I know. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! While the season is still going,
I found myself watching college football yesterday like a madman, like starting to scout guys, and a little bit weird, but.
I just
Are
like
you mental?
I just like watching. I don't like scouting.
Okay, I got you.
No, I like to watch, Eve. No, it's not a Peter Sellers being there type of watch. I like to enjoy the college football, and of course, it's tough to watch last night and not think about.
Some talented guys out.
Oh, there's some talented guys out there. What would it be like? A couple of those Alabama receivers. Couple of different quarterbacks watching yesterday.
A tight end from Florida.
Oh, man.
He's athletic.
So, look, I get that part of it, but where are they going to go? How could the Patriots move? Stop it. Would you stop?
Yeah.
Not yet. Not now.
I know.
Too soon.
And I can feel it lining up because they're going to pick probably in the middle of the first round, and the first two quarterbacks, Fields and Trevor Lawrence, are going to go, and there'll be a couple other guys that people have maybe convinced themselves of, and everyone will hold their breath at that pick, and then they're not going to select a quarterback at that pick.
Trevor Lawrence, once you see him rush in a long touchdown, I start watching Trevor Lawrence, and again, it's against college defenses, so it doesn't translate necessarily. But when you see him back there in that pocket for longer than a second, and you just see one thing open up behind the line. You see one linebacker drift just a little too far left or right. I start thinking he could run every ball in 30 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what that kid does to you. He starts making you think, wow, he could take this himself again.
Yeah.
He could do it right there.
Yeah, it's
something else.
It is, and it's frustrating because you'd love to be able to get your paws on a guy like that, really make all the difference in the world. Instead, he's going to probably end up in New York where they're going to ruin him. But yeah, maybe we could get Sam Darnold or something. Maybe there's a trickle down effect out there between Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford, all those guys. But I think I agree with you, Hardy. And actually, I don't even know if this is what you meant, but I think they're going to go for another veteran quarterback. I think Belichick doesn't have long left. He doesn't want to take time developing somebody. Maybe I hope they put another guy in the pipeline. It doesn't have to be the first round guy unless they really love him. But get another Stidham, put him in, let him take over for Hoyer. You got Stidham, and just keep throwing guys at the wall until you figure it out. But I'd bet the starter next year is a veteran right now who's played some games in the NFL.
Yeah, we'll talk. Oh, Paulie Paul rejoining us here in studio. Perfect timing, Paul. How'd your chin wag go with the flagship over there? Everything go well?
It went okay.
Uh-oh.
Some issues.
No, it was fine. J.J. Taylor, guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Looking for a Spock?
Yep.
Looking for a Spock.
We'll see. Hopefully he doesn't get broken in half. He's very small, but...
It'd be fun to. It's one of those fun to watch. Okay,
totally.
Something else to be interested in.
I was bummed because when they signed him, I'm like, we're never going to get to see this guy play because they're not going to have a preseason. But here we are. We got some games in September, and now we're going to get some games in December.
Right. Who knew they were going to be as limited offensively as they have been, and he was safe.
Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it?
So we went down the road with one of our callers with a feast there in Illinois talking about quarterbacks for the Patriots for next year. He brought up one in Carson Wentz. I thought, it's certainly something I've heard mentioned a couple of times. It is not what I was thinking about, but when you think quarterback for the Patriots next year, Paul, let's limit it right now to veterans that are already in the league on another team right now. If they end up going with someone other than Cam Newton or Jared Stidham, and it is a veteran quarterback on another team, who is that most likely to be?
What a loaded question.
Just lay it out there.
We're doing scenarios.
Well, I don't
here.
know. Like, yeah, okay, we could do scenarios, but I don't know about who is most likely to be.
Yeah, most likely the thing that would surprise you the least.
Oh, God, that's a tough one. I'm probably going to say another really inexpensive, like Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Like a guy who's not going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, at the top of my list would be a guy like Carson Wentz. Or, and this is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford.
Yep.
I would take Matthew Stafford in a blink.
I see, and that I feel.
I think he makes sense.
I'm torn on that because obviously I don't want the Lions to somehow be further behind the 8 ball, but I'd rather have him on the Patriots. I think it's a fit. I think it would make sense. The tough sell for Stafford is, and even though he's made a lot of money, they would have to rework his contract. He would have to.
But why?
Because I don't think the Patriots are going to pay him the money that.
Well, then Jameis Winston. Because I mean, if you're not going to pay $21 million for a starting quarterback, then like,
I think you should.
You don't want a starting quarterback.
Right.
You just want a guy You want a guy playing quarterback. You don't want an NFL starter.
And you want to try to live in that place where we're not paying our quarterback, so we don't have to worry
That's what
about
I'm
that
saying.
contract.
Right.
And
that's fine
should.
if that's where they go. If they say we want to get a young guy and then just have a placeholder, like they did this year, then that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you want a guy that you might be able to win with over the next couple of years, that can make you a playoff team as you're trying to find the next guy and fill in some of these gaps, then you got to pay $20 million at least.
And I think you have to. I think you got to jump in and make a jump right from the get-go so that you go into free agency with all this money with a plan, and you can sell it to receivers and guys that you want to bring here. And we're not going to float till July before we actually have a person who's a legitimate NFL starting quarterback, and that might be debatable at that point.
This is why I agree with Hardy, and this is why I have a hard time when you said like who's most likely. Because I don't know, but I think you're right, Hardy. I think they probably aren't looking to pay that while they're in the middle of a rebuilding. But I don't think that's I don't think Matthew Stafford's expensive.
You see, when we talked about this season beforehand, the predictions were all over the place, but I'd say the majority of them fell about where this team is going to end up. Let's say they end up, 9-7, missing out on the playoffs. I don't think you would have necessarily predicted Cam Newton playing the way he has played, right? But well enough to keep them in some games and to beat some bad teams and to get a couple of good wins mixed in there. Is it all that different with Jameis Winston next year? Do you think the end result ends up being a whole lot different than, say, 9-7?
It's tough with him. You got to have a leap of faith because I think he turns the ball over like crazy last time we saw him as a quarterback, and that's a big no-no.
Only like 30 times.
I've never really liked Jameis Winston. My dad calls him Jameson, just as I always called him Jameson. I don't know why, he just can't seem to get it right. That Jameson, I'm like, I know who you got that. So I don't really want Jameson, but I just tend to think that Bill's got a few years left. I don't think he wants to spend it trying to chase a rookie quarterback, or I don't think he's going to, even somebody that he could draft at 15 is going to step in and be the guy. And so I just think that they're going to continue to develop mid-range quarterbacks, and they'll try to get a veteran. And I think they should pay him because that's what you have to do. But if it was Jameis, I think that it's got to be more functional in the passing game than it has been with Cam. I think that might be a big ask. For Jameis,
I think you'd have a major. I think you'd have a major improvement in the passing game with Winston. But you're probably right, Hardy. I mean, does that make you like 12-4 in a high playoff team? No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So it depends on what they want to do, what their plan is. The reason why I like Stafford, there's multiple reasons, but one of them is I think Stafford's got about 4 or 5 more good years. I think Bill Belichick's probably got about 4 or 5 more good years. Let those two, play out the string together.
Yeah.
And see what you can do. That's the type of quarterback that if you don't have to get him a ton, but if you get him a receiver and a tight end, let's just start there. A tight end and a receiver for Matthew Stafford. There is the basis of a passing game. And add to it some a running element to where you can be a playoff team once again and be dangerous.
Yeah, well,
that's what else are you going to do?
I think, and the other part of it is that I think that, not to get too much into draft, but just having dipped my toe in the receivers, there's a bunch of good receivers again. So those receivers can have impact, first-round receivers, especially in that mid-teen range. So what if you just sign Stafford, draft a receiver in the mid-15s? I think that's already a much better situation to start with than you're looking at with Cam Newton, the weapons that he's had this year. So that's just one way to look at it. But I think you're more likely to get immediate production if you sign a veteran quarterback and you draft a receiver or something high than if you try to draft, a developmental quarterback, which is probably what it would be at 15, in the first round.
All right. Let's talk about a couple other ones. Now, Carson Wentz, that's you like that notion there, Paul?
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz can still play. I don't know exactly what the reason is for the complete collapse for him. He's been absolutely awful. And you can't, people talk about Jameis Winston. Like, the season that Carson Wentz has had this year has been every bit as bad as what, matter of fact, I don't think he played as well as Winston did last year. Yeah. At least Winston had a ton of production to go with the interceptions. Throwing for 5,000 yards and 30-plus. Wentz can't score and turns the ball over like Winston does. So I don't know what caused it all to fall apart for him. Now I know this, the pregame shows in Philly right now are going crazy. Evidently his agent came out and explained how upset Wentz is and doesn't want to be a backup, blah, 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 and all that. And right. So there's a chance that he could be available. There's a lot of money there. The Eagles are going to have to swallow a huge dead cap hit, depending on when they do it over the next year or two. But I think he could be had. I think you can get him.
He's intriguing. I think, and that's when you look at the Patriots to get that next guy. If it's not just hop, skip, jump from free agent to free agent, I think that's a former first overall pick, who's fallen out of favor. He's still young. Yeah, you got to get around the contract. But if you believe in the player and you think a change of scenery could work, these are the kind of talented guys that you just don't have a chance at in the draft. So if you have an opportunity to get one, even if it means you got to take a little bit more of a financial risk than you might want to, it could make sense.
My Ravens thing, just looking at their inactives: Mark Ingram, Jimmy Smith, Marcus Peters, and Calais Campbell.
Good.
Told you. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Jimmy Garoppolo. Ain't chance San Francisco's ready to say, yeah, we've done the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. Nice kid. We like him. He just doesn't play all that much. And New England figures out a way to get him back here and knows the system. We know that Bill Belichick likes him. How about Jimmy G?
Yeah. I'd be okay with it. I think San Francisco would be a little crazy to let him go, but it's just you can't get around the injuries, and that's the concern. And if you're going to welcome him back, then you have to realize we probably need a backup that can play and can be ready to go. But you got to think at some point Jimmy's going to string a couple seasons together here. But it seems like he's had one season. Last year was the first one, and was that the only season he's ever had where he hasn't had an injury?
Well, that's why I kind of chuckle at that. It's like, he was injured in San Francisco. He got injured here too.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he was bulletproof, and they figured out a way to keep him.
You don't know that Bill
safe.
Can prevent injuries.
He just chose not to.
I'm kind of with Deuce though, and I think the Niners, and I'm very lukewarm on Garoppolo, the quarterback, to be honest with you, but I think the Niners would be absolutely crazy to let him go, just given the last 3 years with and without him.
Yeah.
It's like striking. They cannot win a game without him. And they really don't lose a lot of them with him. So I don't know how you could just say, well, he gets hurt. Maybe you have to invest a little bit more in your backup situation and expect him to only play 13 games or something like that. But, the record with and without him is really, really night and day. And I don't know how you give up on that.
All right. Let's do the over-unders. Let's get to them.
It's time for this week's edition of Over-Unders.
You're over me? When were you under me?
Well, first things first, we generally spend most of the time in over-unders recapping what happened last week.
We can skip that this week if you want.
Matt, go ahead. What happened last week? I have no idea.
Let's see. Last week we have Mike going 4-2, Paul going 5-1,
great
better,
job.
and Hardy 6-0.
Oh, wow! Undefeated last week.
Amazing.
How about that? I had no idea. Well,
let's get to the totals. The season totals. Mike and Paul are tied at 48 and 30. Hardy, 38 and 40.
What? For those of you that struggle with math, that's a 10-game difference.
But he did go 6-0.
Well, I went 5-1.
Trying to give him a little hand here.
Yeah,
a little credit.
I thought I would be closer than that. All right, that's okay. And last week I went first on a couple of these, so don't think I just used the contrarian method to figure these out. I had a couple of legit picks on my own out of those 6, and then a couple of them I just went the opposite of what you guys did. So
yeah,
whatever order you want to go, doesn't matter to me. Paul, you pick the order this week, or should we take turns picking first?
Yeah, we could take turns. Let's take turns.
Take turns.
Seems more democratic.
Yeah. All right, I will go first on this one. Go ahead. What do you got for us, Matt?
Cam Newton completions, 14.5.
I am going under.
I was thrown off by that.
I'm going to go over. I don't think it's going to be a lot over, and I don't expect him to go crazy, but maybe he hits 16, 17.
See what he's doing? Now he's doing what I do.
14.5. What did he go last week? Anybody know?
I think it's 11.
11-ish. It was 9 the week before.
I'm going to take the over. God, do I not love that.
Everything's coming up Hardy. Everything's coming up Hardy.
I'm terrible.
This is great.
14.5. Oh, God.
Next, we got Sony Michel rushing yards, 55.5.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over. I'll hop on this one first. I picked him as my Draftkings guy. If ever there was a time, we need you, Sony. Need you today. I think he can get over that. I'd look for him to just goal line, getting in those short yardage situations too. That's where I'm counting on him.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm going to take the over as well. I think it's all on Michel today. He gets the bulk of the carries, and he finds a way to get 56 yards.
I think so too. Just based on the injuries and the Harris being out, it's got to be Sony. It's got to be over. We're all going over.
And I'm looking at last week's record. Cam went 9 for 16.
9. Oh, he was 9 last week.
9.
Wow. 9.
Okay, moving on. Demir Bird receiving yards.
What did you take for Sony? I'm sorry.
Over. He went over.
We all went over?
We all went over. Paul gets this one first.
Yep.
This is going to be an easy one.
I have to take the over.
He hasn't even said it yet.
Sorry.
Demir Bird receiving yards, 45.5.
Yeah, I'm contractually obligated through my swag from DraftKings. He's my pick this week for DraftKings Player of the Week at $3,800. I think that's a great bargain. And I think he finds a way to make a handful of catches today and gets over 50 yards. So 45.5, I'm taking the over.
Good for you, kid.
Good for me.
Stick with it. Under. I'm going under on the completions. I'm going under Demir Bird receiving yards. I'm consistent, and I am under.
Yeah, I'm going to go under too. I think I'm not quite sold. I think he'll have a couple catches, but it's going to be tough sledding
for 50 yards.
Yeah. 48.
And a touchdown.
44.
Okay, going to show Miami a little love here. Tua passing yards, 224.5.
Seems high-ish, but not based on Tua's numbers. It's really not all that out of the question.
Yeah. First 300-yard game last week?
Yeah, I'm going over.
Incorrect. What? It was his career high last week.
Career high?
Not his first 300.
Oh, he didn't break 300?
I'm going over.
Going over.
Deuce?
I'm going to go under.
Yeah, I'm going to go over as well because if there was an over-under on rushing yards from Miami in this game, I don't think it would be 10. So I think all of the yards that Miami manages will be through the air.
Everything's coming up Hardy.
Patriots.
It's all about Hardy this week. All right, moving on. What do we have?
How many QBs will we see for the Pats today? One and a hay.
Deuce.
One quarterback. Cameron Newton will start, and he will get the win.
Okay.
I'm going to take the under as well. I think chances are he makes it through the game. I can't see Miami getting a big lead.
I just, wow. It's so tough.
Agonizing.
I am. I'm agonizing over this one.
DraftKings having Stidham so high up and so expensive is throwing Hardy off.
That's it. Yeah, that's
they know. They know.
That's what's doing it.
Stidham's in the game in the middle of the first quarter.
Stidham start.
I'm gonna go under too. I call me crazy. I believe Bill when he says that Cam's our quarterback, and I think you're only seeing Stidham coming in for mop-up duty. I don't think there is any mop-up duty in a game like this, so I'm going under.
Yeah. Okay. And as always, we end with the total, which was 41.5 for this week.
Paul, you go first on this one.
Yeah, I have the under in this one. I think it's a low-scoring game with two very challenged offenses going against defenses that are certainly better than the offenses. Under.
Yeah, I don't know too many score predictions that have it going over 41 points.
Yeah,
so
40 points.
40. So I am under.
Under
Deuce,
two.
we're all under. All under 41.5. Very good. All right.
All right.
Thank you very much, Matt Morrell. 6-0 last week. Man,
good job, Hardy.
Just a lot of people talking about it.
Imagine if you went 6-0 every week. Be pretty good.
Well, listen, you don't.
Good job by Hardy, though.
Yeah.
Really good job.
I don't need to go 6-0. I need to go 6-0 again this week and have you guys fall off a little bit.
Yeah.
A little 5-1, a little 4-2, whatever.
Could happen.
Just nickel and dime it, and then really, really put the hammer down.
Last
the final
couple
2 weeks.
Yeah, that's when you pull away.
That's all it's going to take. R.J. Bell, your favorite, Paul.
RJ got to start right here on this show. Well, on Patriots Unfiltered.
Is
previous PFW progress.
That was the first thing he ever did?
I don't know.
Okay.
He used to call on our show a lot. I think he's a Patriots fan at heart.
Oh. You often hear vague reference to Bill Belichick versus young quarterbacks. Here are the actual numbers, and this is from pregame.com. He's got his career record as head coach of the Pats and Browns versus first and second year quarterbacks. Straight up, he is 80-20. So Bill Belichick has won 80% of the games against first and second year quarterbacks. Against the spread, to me, this is the even more impressive number. 64-34-2.
Wow.
Almost 2/3 of the games, Belichick has beaten the spread going up against first or second year quarterbacks. The hype is real.
Yeah.
The number is real. It is a real thing. It's no longer just a vague reference.
Especially with what Tua's got to work with today. I mean, I can't imagine any of these rookie quarterbacks had much worse supporting
My
cast
only
than
thing
these.
about those kinds of numbers is I'd like to see what the numbers are like. Like we always have in November, and after Thanksgiving, and playing that. What are the numbers not like 80% win?
Mm-hmm.
Like what scenario? Like maybe at Miami is like the only one. But like the Patriots
generally,
like the Brady Belichick Patriots,
everything regardless,
win like 80% of their games.
Yeah.
Like it's just incredible the consistency that they've had for 20 years.
Yeah.
But the young quarterback thing is absolutely legitimate. Absolutely, good numbers by R.J. Bell.
I mean the second year numbers are same or better than the first year numbers. I mean it really is. It's you get a guy.
The second year like the first time facing Belichick?
I'm sure for some of them it has to be. Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, so maybe that doesn't factor in as much as I thought. That's a good point, Paul. Yeah. Excellent job by you. 855-PATS-500. You can also email the show webradio@patriots.com. Let's get to a couple of these emails right now. Oh, we have one from Claire. Who's checking in.
Hey, Claire.
Hey, girl.
West Midlands, UK.
That's the spot.
Just wanted to ask Paul about the tight ends. Just kidding.
That was good.
Wanted to thank you so much for keeping us going throughout this difficult year. You're all so great. Wish you and your families. She said a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. I heard my son yesterday wish someone a Happy Christmas. And I thought, has he been watching some British television lately?
Yeah.
Happy Christmas. That's a very British thing, isn't it, to say Happy Christmas?
Happy Christmas.
It is.
Yeah.
And that came out of my mouth this week, too, and I was like, where did that come from? I don't know. It's weird that you bring that up because I did a Happy
Big in
Christmas
Harry
to
Potter.
somebody.
He's been watching Harry Potter lately.
They're practically Christmas movies.
Are they really?
They were all released pretty much in December.
Okay.
Is that what makes a Christmas movie?
That's why Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
It is not, and we're not doing that.
No.
No, that conversation will make my head explode. It's not a Christmas movie. Cameron in Virginia says, hey, guys, hope all is well. Do you expect to see Sony Michel handle the bulk of the carries with Damian Harris out? We kind of just covered this, but Deuce?
Yeah. for sure. We'll see how he does. He's had some time off. He hasn't really gotten a lot of action. And see if he's got some burst to him. And now that he's been able to have a full week of practice back here at the stadium, we'll see. I mean, it's big expectations for Sony. Damian Harris done an excellent job. He's been, definitely a much better back than Sony has, and that's a huge blow to the Patriots. I think some of these games, Damian Harris is the only one really doing much of anything. So we'll see if they're able to, kind of reproduce that somewhat with Sony. How much of an effect is? I mean, good to see Jermaine Illuminor's playing too. I mean, he missed a practice this week. So yeah, Sony's such a character, People get so mad about him and his draft position and all that, and they really need him today, so we'll see what he has.
Yeah, I was joking about J.J. Taylor, too, a little while ago, providing a spark. But,
maybe,
he's probably the second guy, right? You activate him without Harris, so there's somebody there to get some more carries. Now, Bill could just go with James White and give him the carries, but I don't think that's probably the best way to go about it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a change of pace a little bit with Taylor once in a while here. I mean, it's been a while since he played. It's so hard to predict him to do anything. But first and foremost, you guys are right. Sony Michel's going to have an opportunity to get close to 20 carries today, and we'll see what he does with them.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, it has been a big break for him, but I could see a way. Sony doesn't have much going. They're not going to start giving it to James White early downs. I could see it.
That's sort of what I was getting at.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to predict anything from a guy who. Has he played in 2 months?
I don't think so. I mean, not since September. I don't think.
All right. We got the warm-ups going on right now, so we're going to step aside.
There's the guy right there.
There's
there
Sony Michel.
Sony. He looks
there.
primed.
He is.
He looks
and
big.
There he is, thick, having the time of his life. Sony Michel.
And here he is, having the time of his life.
I still can't believe that I heard that on a professional broadcast.
It's never not funny.
No, never not once.
So we will keep our eye on the warm-ups here and step aside and then return. Don't forget, Dunkin' fans, who isn't a fan of Dunkin', they've got your back. They make mobile ordering as easy as possible. They get you in, out, on the go. You'll be feeling good to go. Order through the Dunkin' app. You can pick up in-store like I did this morning or from the drive-thru. Contactless experience. It's great. America runs on Dunkin'.
Order ahead on the Dunkin' app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Dunkin' fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
Ready or not.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side.
This is the place to play for $1 million in week 1. Draftkings, land of the millionaire. Football is back. Time to let your competitive streak. Download the app and take your shot at $1 million. Draftkings.
For over 60 years, this team has transformed itself into a championship organization. For over 160 years, our team has demonstrated a similar mentality. There are no days off. Our front lines are fortified by people who sacrifice individuality for the team. Our shelves are also stocked with the best quality products and ingredients. Our team members know their roles. We're proud to do our jobs. Shaw's, the official supermarket of the 6-time champion New England Patriots.
Johnny, you phonic.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
What do you think of Thursday Night Football?
Hated it.
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Look at the warm-ups. Wow, looks warm in Miami, doesn't it? Looks nice down there.
Yeah. Can we go down there?
I would love to. And
There's Calm Newton.
It's calm.
Out there doing his thing. Paul, while we're looking at the sunshine there, do you have any interesting snowblowing stories from the week? You mentioned you were out there.
No, I just
with your machine.
I have like literally like 4 different gas cans. And
what did you have, like a mix? You keep one that's a mix for the line trimmer or something?
No.
You just have a lot of gas cans.
Yeah, and I don't really know the answer to the question as to why. I think I kind of had 2, and then I ended up acquiring a couple along the way. Anyway, that's not important, but I'm almost never like having all of them out at the same time because you use them in the summer with your lawnmower and in the winter. There's always at least one of them that is full. So
right.
I usually, when the season's over, I empty whatever, like the lawnmower, before I put it away for the season, I usually make sure there's no gas in both. So last week, I filled up my snowblower with gas.
Emptied the gas can.
No, there was a little more. There was more left in that one, but I didn't realize that was the only one that had any in it. So then I was using it the other day, and I was out there for a long time. A couple of different times that I used it. And I needed to refill. Went, put more in it. Wasn't really a whole lot in there. And didn't make it.
No. I actually had to help out a guy who ran out of gas. He was a guy working on the house across the street, and there was something wrong with it, like his fuel gauge. He didn't, just ignore it. There was something wrong. So I had, gas, and I gave it to him, and he just a couple of gallons. So I knew at that point I had to go refill. But when it comes to the storing the gas in the garage, number one, in the machines, I no longer empty the machines. I'm out on that. I put a little stay bill, that.
See you next spring.
Yeah, I usually don't have any of that.
I dump
either.
like an ounce into the lawnmower, into the snowblower. I'm like, you know what? It's fine, and it works. My snowblower first pull, and it's not a great machine. I need to upgrade for next year. But twice, I had to get out there twice. I did it
story, Hansel.
Once in the morning. Hey, Morel,
Wow.
Morel, I will choke you out, dude. It's not a problem for me.
Snowblower story time.
You want me to
show some respect?
Want me to talk about the Pats Dolphins? Because that's not happening.
Some Draftkings.
So what? Draftkings. So what I do is just I put the stable in there for the off season.
That
and
works.
It's fine. It does work.
It does work.
It's great.
I've done it.
DraftKings is great, though. If you want to sign up right now, you can do it for free and play for a share of over $1 million in total prizes with your first deposit. You got to download the app, and then you play for free. $1 million total prizes, DraftKings leader in daily fantasy sports. Nobody took Cam Newton today, huh?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I took Cam once this season.
Yeah, I took him once.
Yeah, why not? But not today. I had Damian Harris earlier in the week. He ended up getting that ankle at practice on Wednesday, so instead I took the Patriots defense today for the low price of $3,000 U.S., and boy, they are going to come through for me today.
I think you're right.
It's a smart pick.
You got a little shot of Tua there in the background.
I wish I would have picked it like the first time around. It'd make me look really smart, but instead I was forced into it because I picked a player that ended up not even making the trip.
Is this the second time this year the quarterback matchup will feature number 1 versus number 1?
Wow, yes. Kyler Murray. And then, wow, there you go. A little bit of trivia.
I'm sure Bob Sosi will have that as
well. That's
as
the kind of
first
analysis
notes
you
of the
can
game.
expect right here in the
That's
pregame social.
So
across the way and give the fist bump to the fans.
That's right. Who did you end up going with today, Mike?
I went Sony Michel.
Oh, yeah.
Big boy.
So you
Mike had access to practice, so he had information that you and I were not privy to.
Yeah. I saw they gave Damian Harris a package. He opened it. Was an ankle. He had an ankle, and that was congratulations. Merry Christmas.
But you and I both, I think, with solid picks today. I've got the defense. You've got Sony Michel. We all
Paul's rolling the dice.
Paul rolled the dice.
Rolling the dice a little bit there on the Patriots passing.
I went
game.
with the ultimate boomer bust.
Yeah.
Oh, Demir Bird. That's right.
Probably going to bust.
Well, look, it's bold. I'll give you points for bold. I just don't know that it's going to be that type of a game today. Here's what I love. This has the potential to go completely against what everybody says. And when I say what everybody says, I think those people are going to be right. But if this ends up being a, 32 to 27 shootout, that blows up what everybody has predicted for this game, myself included.
Yeah.
I mean, to think
There's
that
my guy. That's my guy right there, doing a little shimmy. Looks like he has to go to the bathroom.
Maybe
he was
he
watching
does.
Lamar Jackson the other night, evidently.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the game could unfold a lot of ways, and I think this Patriots team's just been inconsistent this year, and you never quite know, how the game's going to unfold or what team you're going to kind of get. That speaks a little bit to my key, but I think it's if the Dolphins have success moving the ball on this Patriots defense early and get them behind and get them into the kind of game that they haven't been able to win this year, it could be real frustrating the way it unfolds. They're going to have to Sony's going to have a game. They're going to need Jacoby Myers to step up. I think, Claire kiddingly asked about the tight ends, but I do think it's interesting to watch. I mean, this is it. You kind of relied on Ryan Izzo all year, and now you're going to have those two rookies in there. Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene are going to play significant roles today. Can they do anything? Can they? I mean, at this point, just catch a pass. Get something positive going. But I think they're going to have to generate some new ways to find offense today. It's not going to be Damian Harris. I think Miami's going to do a great job. They know what the Patriots need to do to win. I think they'll have a good plan for it. So I'm just looking to see how the Patriots offense is able to somehow manufacture offense. And if they get into a hole and they've got to get even more out of their comfort zone to climb back into the game, it's going to be interesting to see if they've got that gear in this kind of situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's step aside here briefly, and we'll return, and we're going to have our Sunday six-pack. We got the full Sunday six-pack for you today. That'll be coming up here on the Patriots pregame social, fueled by Duncan.
How do we inspire people to lead their healthiest lives? How do we bring everyone together so that healthcare finally works for all of us? We know how. We are the how. Optum. How well gets done.
Order ahead on the Duncan app to get running on game day. Whether you're a Patriots fan or a Duncan fan.
Yes.
DD Perks members get a $1 medium hot or iced coffee when you order from the app on Patriots game day.
My Caleb Sofa and Love Seat. With Bob's discount, you get both pieces for just $7.99.
$7.99? Are you joking?
Do I look like I'm joking?
Yes. You look like you're joking.
I'm serious.
Cool.
Get Bob's discount!
Why is this it? Okay. Yeah, it should fit. It should fit. The take it back for something smaller with the CarMax 7-day money-back guarantee way. Whatever your way, that's the way car buying should be.
Wow! You gotta see the stats on that one! I shot at a TD, 14%. Defender distance, decimals. My only out, zero gravity, 6 points. Next gen stats powered by AWS.
In New England, we are resilient. It takes hard work to earn respect. Sometimes it takes decades. And it always takes someone being on your side.
Johnny, you phonic.
Join the conversation by calling the Ace Ticket hotline at 855-PATS-500 or email the show at webradio@patriots.com.
That was my song. I would walk in singing, "What would you do for a Klondike bar?"
Live from our studios inside Gillette Stadium, here's Hardy.
Yeah, a lot going on there in those warm-ups. They're warming up the Patriots. Hey, they're warming up in a place that looks warm. Good for them. Playing in Miami, feeling the sun.
Deuce brought up the tight ends before we left, and I know we have to do the six-pack too. But
yeah, in a few minutes.
That is one of those things that we talk about. We're joking around about the path, no path, whatever. Either way, I would like to see a concerted effort over these last 3 games to just throw the ball to the tight ends a couple of times each game. No. Let's see if they can be productive in the passing game. And I'm not going to tell you if Keene and Asiasi wind up with 10 receptions apiece down the stretch, if that means anything going forward. But it would make me feel a lot better than if they continue to be complete and total non-factors.
Yeah, I agree.
We got an email here from Broxybear in Scotland, who says, obviously the Pats need to sign players, new players at various positions next season. My question is, what about the Patriots would attract players now?
It's a great question. And it elicited an enormous fight on Thursday.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, was that when I was out at practice? That's what it was. That was
Yeah.
what it was about.
No Brady. The so-called dynasty is over. Belichick and the Patriots, notoriously difficult atmosphere to play in. They rarely pay big, and the weather isn't exactly great. So, what's the attraction?
Money. You get paid.
Right.
I mean,
And
you
get paid something.
Teams go to the Bengals. Teams go to the guys go to the Browns.
But that's the hard part is the Patriots
You're back.
don't generally do that.
Yeah. You're
So
gonna
how
have
do you
to-
get them?
Yeah.
That's and that kind of
Especially that goes to the point of
was a springboard. Yeah.
going into free agency with no quarterback. You know, like I mean, you think you got to have something, and you definitely can't go in just being like, "Don't worry,
Don't worry, we're
we'll
gonna
get-
we're gonna
we'll get
draft
you."
someone. But wait,
Yeah.
aren't you picking 17th?
Yeah.
Like I agree with Mike. I think there's a good chance that you get one of those veterans signed. As free agency approaches. Because those deals always seem to leak out before free agency starts. So maybe they have a deal in place with somebody. And that's we have Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
He's coming. Carson Wentz. He's going. He'll be the guy.
Yeah. And I still think there are players out there that want to play for Belichick that are curious by this place. I mean, not everybody, certainly not everybody, but there are definitely still guys who probably would, be curious to see what the experience is like. And
also just curious.
but you look at a guy like Adrian Phillips. It's like he came here this year as a free agent. Not a lot of not a huge heralded signing. But a solid player that they got on a manageable deal. Now I agree with Paul though. They're going to have to start.
And
paying
I think
guys.
they'll continue
Like,
to
they
be.
Start to
they'll
say,
be able
this
to
is
get
who our
those
team
guys
is,
without question. I'm talking about if you want to get, Juju Smith-Schuster or Allen Robinson. How are you doing it? And my guess is you're paying a lot of money.
Yeah. Because I think you can fill a lot of the basic holes with those Adrian Phillips types guy, but I just don't think there's any question the quarterback position, the receiver position, those defensive end pass rush, those are the guys you're going to have to throw some money out there, and they've got the space to do it. Like you're not just going to sit on all this cap space next year and hoard it.
So they're not hamstrung by what they've done in previous years anymore. After this year, they get themselves free and clear of selling out.
We'll find out next
year. Ain't over yet.
Do I have to be careful?
We'll see.
The thing with a player like Stafford, though, and Proxy Bear makes a good point. It's like, what is it? The dynasty, has definitely taken a big hit with Brady leaving, and it's not the. But for a guy like Stafford, he's never had a chance to win. I mean, he's been to the playoffs 3 times. He doesn't have a playoff win. If you're Matthew Stafford, part of the attraction would be like, well, here's a place where it is conceivable in the laws of the universe that I can win a playoff game. There's like nothing working against me in terms of the forces of evil that have worked against the Lions.
Plus, they would have to trade for him to get him, so you don't have to convince him.
Right.
So you go.
But yeah.
No, he might be wanting to redo his contract. In which case, that's a problem for the Patriots because my guess is they probably don't love the contract to begin with.
Right, but again, if you could put yourself in Matthew Stafford's shoes and say, like, you know what? I could win a playoff game.
Yeah,
I could be playing to win the division. I could be playing to, I don't know, maybe have a shot at a conference. And even if they feel like, okay, they're still not going to end up beating the Chiefs, or if
that's another part of it.
What's that?
No.
How much do you think the teams look at it from around and say? They're not beating Baltimore right now. I mean, Buffalo right now.
But if you're the Lions, you want out of that division. That division sucks. Yeah.
No, I'm saying like Stafford. You're saying I have a chance to go and win that division. Like, are you saying that?
You're going to
when
get
you
through
look
Kansas
at them?
City. That's
Are they better than Buffalo right now?
Oh, no, but I think you are going to be up against it as long as Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay.
Oh.
And Chicago continues to figure out a way to win, even with the likes of Mitchell Trubisky. The Vikings still give them issues. I mean, that's a tough division.
It's a good division.
It's
but
a good
right now,
division.
I think that's what the AFC East is stacking up to be.
Up and coming.
Maybe the NFC North is probably better because their worst team is far superior to the Jets.
Yes.
But the other 3 teams are, assuming the
They're on the
Patriots can
come.
improve, I think Buffalo and Miami are both trending in the right direction.
Sure.
And I think Buffalo might already be there.
Yep.
Adam, who is in Maryville, Indiana. I have the Pats winning 17-13. Big James White Day. Also, I'm liking Zach Wilson from BYU as the quarterback for the future. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I haven't jumped in on.
I have zero thoughts on Zach Wilson from BYU.
I know Paul's looked
at
down.
I actually really like Zach Wilson. And one of our listeners on the show very early in the season talked about him, and I was kind of lukewarm. I didn't realize he was as big as he is, and that was remember that was the first thing I said was, I don't know how big he is, and they were like, no, he's like 6, and he is. He's a little bit bigger. I'm a little bit more interested in the arm talent than some people are, and he's got a good arm, and I think you can work with that. I think he has some raw skills. He's a good combination of those things now, the mobility, playmaking ability, and showed some toughness with BYU. Weird kind of a season with them having to remake a schedule on the fly. I think they, in the middle of the first round, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Now, a lot of people are sort of putting him higher than that now, so I don't know if he'll be available.
All right. Andrew in the Green Mountain says, with the Patriots likely picking in the 13 to 16 range, do you think they could potentially trade Gilmore in their first-round pick to get into the top 10?
Ooh.
I look at Miami with Houston's pick as potential trade partner. Keep up the good work, guys.
So what do you want to trade to get into the top 10?
Gilmore and their first-round pick falling between 13 and 16.
No, I have no interest in that if I'm Miami.
Not Miami. Yeah.
An aging cornerback is all I'm getting to switch spots in the first round.
Well, and you're going to have to give him a new deal, probably.
And you're going to have to
absolutely.
You're going to have to convince Miami that that's a good idea to give the Patriots that pick.
Yeah. Not going to happen. No, I don't think so. I mean, I think Gilmore is a third or a fourth round pick.
Like
I don't think you're getting.
I
don't think he's this major.
But I think if you had a team that felt like it was a cornerback away, that would make sense. Miami's not that team. Miami just invested heavily in cornerback.
Yeah, they get
with Howard re-signing and Byron Jones in free agency. They're not looking to add another big money cornerback to that. I don't think that makes a lot of sense for them.
Here's a couple of names that I don't think we brought up today. This is from Samuel. What about Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr? Both looked good to me last game. I know that Mariota played 3 quarters this season, but he still looked good.
Yeah, I have no interest in Marcus Mariota.
Maybe we can trade for one of them.
You could,
or maybe maybe the Raiders want to shop him around.
That's true.
What's wrong with Mariota?
I don't like him.
I think it looked pretty good.
The other night, Thursday night, he did. He played well. He came off the bench and played well.
You don't like him?
I don't.
No. Injuries.
I don't think he's consistent enough.
God, for as good as he looked at the start.
He was a beast when we were down there last year. When we were in Tennessee and he walked by and I'm like, whoa.
Big dude. I mean, bigger than I thought.
Before I saw Derrick Henry, I was like, whoa, Marcus Mariota.
Before Juice needed a cigarette.
Derrick Henry walks by in just spandex shorts. Paul doesn't even break focus from watching Jermaine Illuminor stretch. It's like out on the field watching the Patriots.
I have a job to do, Hardy. Right? I'm on the company dime, right? The company sends me down to Nashville to do a job.
I'm not here to oogle Derrick Henry.
Right. Some of us had a job to do. Others just, I don't know what what they do.
Treat it as eye candy. Right.
Imagine if we had a big running back like that.
Did I overhear you retelling a story? Did you have an incident with walking past a player this past week, Deuce? Is it something that happened?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
Nothing. We're away from them, so no, not really.
All right.
I mean, I see some of them from a distance. You know what it might have been? It was just before I was allowed to go into the Empower Fieldhouse to watch practice. I had to watch all the poor players, in the middle of that snowstorm, walk over the bleachers and kind of shuffle through the snow.
Right.
They had to get over there. So I was just kind of holding my breath, hoping that none of them took a spill down those metal bleachers. And, saw Lawrence Guy throwing some snowballs and. I was sitting in my car.
The childlike enthusiasm.
It was.
Right?
It was cute. It was cute.
He's another really good guy.
Yeah.
What are you doing, guy?
Yeah. Hey, you mixing it up? You want me to get in on this action? All right, you want to do the Sunday six-pack? Get a jump start on it? Let's go.
This is the Sunday six-pack, so kick back and listen to the position. I'm itching to get the picks back. You better bring a big stack. Don't get it mixed, Jack. I came to win it, this is the Sunday six-pack.
Yeah, I keep thinking we're going to get the sacks. Sorry, I know we can't.
I will get you sacks-like material for next week.
All right, Sunday six-pack. First, we have to go over what happened last week, where we stand on the season. What's going on?
All right, on the season, or what did you say, last week or the season? Which one do you want first?
Last week first.
Sorry, brain fart. Matt LePan was waving at me. Last week we had Paul going 5-1, Mike 3-3, and Hardy No 6-0 here, 2-4.
That's all right. Paul, you're really good at picking games. You always have been.
I am having a very good season with
You
the
had a
spread.
good season last year.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really probably should start
Betting real money every week.
betting them so I don't have to come in here anymore.
Yeah, why not? Why
But
not?
that probably wouldn't work out for me.
No, probably not. Once you put real money on it, it changes
Cor-
your thought
correct.
process. It does. All right. So on the season,
On the season, we have Paul 39-22.
Jesus.
Mike 35-26. Hardy 27-34.
Slipping away.
I want to find out what that win percentage is right now. I can't do it. I can't do the math in my head, but that is an impressive win percentage there. So we have a total of 61 games. Is that right?
Yeah, 39 divided by 61.
What? Oh, hold on. I have a little percentage calculator
Oh.
here. Just right. What is the percentage of 39 from 61? You are at almost 64%.
Okay, now do this. Let's see.
And by the way,
This is gonna be my
anything over 55%, you are the sharpest of sharps, and you should.
Or what was it?
Anything over 55%.
55. That's all it takes.
That's all it takes, and you're at 63.93% on the season. Insanity.
Do 111 out of 203. Because I'm 111, 92, and 5 for the season.
111 from 203. 54.68%.
Oh, you're
but
almost
still
there.
For the
You're
whole
knocking.
year. Every game. I picked that's every game.
Real sharp.
Well, in
Knocking.
5. I don't know how the
That's-
ties. I think you split the ties up,
Yeah.
I think.
You
half
do
and half for winning
55%
percentage.
consistently, you move to Vegas. That's what you do.
Yeah, but if I ever had any money on any of those games, I'd lose them all.
All right.
And I'm already 1-2 this week because I lost the Raiders, and we all got screwed on the Green Bay one. We lost by a hay.
Yeah.
8.5.
Oh, for our Sports Hub show, we pushed on that. We actually had it on the number. All right, what do we got?
The 9-4 Seattle Seahawks versus the 6-7 Washington Football Team. Seattle -6.5.
I lay the 6.5 all day in this game.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too, although my heart is going to be with the football team.
Yeah, I'm going to do same Seattle. I'll lay those points. Not feeling great about their quarterback
Dwayne
situation.
Haskins. Yeah.
That's all we have on that game, Matt.
Oh, I was waiting for your answer, Hardy. I didn't hear you go.
Oh, I said I laid the 6.5
That's my
all
fault.
day on
My
that
fault.
one. Yeah.
All right, moving on. 8-5 Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the 4-9 Atlanta Falcons. Tampa -6.5.
Yeah, I got Tampa. I think they're gonna light those Falcons up.
I think you're right, but I am so far off this thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing like rooting interest now, and I don't want the Bucs to win. I want Atlanta to shock them and win it outright, and I'll take the Falcons. And I'd love it. I would legitimately love it at 7.5. 6.5. I don't think it's a win, but I'll take the Falcons anyway.
Hardy has the Falcons, and Paul and Mike have Tampa.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Bucs have to have these games. I think they need to find a way to win some of these games, and I think a touchdown. They should win by a touchdown.
All right.
All right, next we have the 4-9 Houston Texans versus the 9-4 Indianapolis Colts. Indy by -7.
Yeah,
Paul, you go first.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Colts in this one. They had a huge scare at Houston just a couple of weeks ago. Since then, the Texans have lost some personnel for various reasons, mostly for cheating. I'm going to take the Colts here to win this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the same. I'll pick the Colts in this one. I do.
If it was 7.5, I'd be tempted to take the hook.
Yeah,
but I will not.
That's what I did in our PU picks. But I'll just take Indy in this one.
You guys are such babies. I don't understand.
Why am I a baby?
I don't know.
You're a baby.
Yeah, you're laying off because of the hook. Nah, I don't
know what that means.
Okay, I think the Texans have a more than reasonable chance of only losing this game by 4 points.
So you have Houston.
I'll take Houston.
Okay, moving on to the 4 p.m. game. 12-1 Kansas City Chiefs versus the 10-3 New Orleans Saints. Kansas City -3.
The only game that matters this week.
What a game!
What a game!
What a game!
No Michael Thomas.
I'm going.
Drew Brees
I think
back.
it's time for me to go first on this one.
Sorry.
I will. No. I'm just saying.
Setting it up. Go
No.
for it.
Don't even think about raining on his parade.
No. Go ahead.
I'm just keeping it fair, but you guys accuse me of like going against your picks. Drew Brees coming off of 11 broken ribs. He's got ribs. He's got a lung. He's got a puncture in that lung.
They're all injured.
You're telling me KC is only a 3-point favorite?
I don't get
Give
it
me the
either.
Chiefs.
Give me the Chiefs.
And again,
too.
if you see something like that doesn't sound right, you should bet it anyway.
Yeah.
What go ahead. No. I'm not betting against it. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm laying the 3.
Yeah, I took the Chiefs as well. I just feel like the Chiefs have been kind of bored this season, and this is a game that probably should have their attention. I like them to show up in this game, kind of like they did in that Tampa Bay game a few weeks ago. I think that was a game that they came out and had a little bit more attention, even though they ended up not covering because they gave up a backdoor touchdown at the end. But
Potential
I like,
Super Bowl opponent.
I like the Chiefs.
They're like, hey, we might see these guys again. Let's actually play.
Right. You taking the Chiefs also, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
No
Just
question.
Just double checking. All right. 2 more games. Here we go.
Sunday Night Football, the 9-4 Cleveland Browns versus the 5-8 New York Giants. Cleveland minus 6.5.
Deuce, you go first.
Cleveland. What did I pick on the PU?
He doesn't even know.
Yeah, I took Cleveland. I'm gonna stick with them. That's what my instinct was, and I think they're playing some fun football right now. I think they'll have a good first round matchup in the playoffs. I'm excited to see kind of who they match up with, how that game goes. But I'm going to take them against the Giants.
Yeah, I have a minor fear of Cleveland having a letdown after an emotional loss Monday night, but I'm going to take the Browns anyway. Colt McCoy playing for the Giants. The Giants look like they're still pretty offensively challenged, and I think that Cleveland running game, that's pretty legit. I think that they have a way to win games and get the lead, and I think that's how they play.
I think that letdown is real, and I think it's worth a couple of points there. And I think it's worth taking the Giants and getting 6.5 points. So that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And wrapping up with the 6-7 New England Patriots versus the 8-5 Miami Dolphins. Miami minus 1.
Yeah, Miami is just missing too much in this game for me to pick them. I think it's a pretty limited team, a limited offense to begin with. I think they're similar in a lot of ways to the Patriots. I think they need to have games unfold the way they want them to in terms of getting a lead, maybe turning you over, and stuff like that. And I think playing against a well-coached team like the Patriots are, I think it'll be more difficult to do those kinds of things. I think this is going to be a game not for the purist. I think it'll be ugly in a lot of ways. I think you'll see a lot of punts. I think you'll see a field position battle. And I think ultimately with Jake Bailey, the Patriots have a little bit of an edge in that department. And they have just enough. Maybe a 13-10 game, 16-13.
Yeah.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Ugly, but I'll take the Patriots to win it.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I think it's not going to be that kind of a game. Just want to see the Patriots really have a good effort from the start to finish. But this minus one's throwing me off a little bit, so I'm going to change my score from what I did on PU, which was 17-16. I'll say 17-15 Patriots.
All right. I am fearful that the Patriots will not have the Miami mindset today, and they will not follow my key to the game. I'm taking the Dolphins in this one, 19-17.
Yeah, we're all in that same weird score, a bunch of field goals,
It's
maybe
real
a
close,
safety.
tight game.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a lot of action out there. Now watch it be, 45-42.
Yeah,
They
I
light
think
it
for
up.
something like that to happen, you're dealing with a mess of turnovers.
I have no idea how that would happen, but
Or
all right.
special teams.
Hey, that's why they play the game, guys.
That's
right. That's why we're excited, right?
That's why we're going to sit here and watch this game, and then I just assume everyone is going to be back here for the post-game show later on.
Was that an option?
Just assume. As long as no one dies, we'll all be
It
here.
is an option for people to join us on the
Oh,
post-game.
I thought you meant
The
us.
listeners.
No, I thought you meant
I thought
us.
us.
No, our listeners will be here. They're loyal.
Yeah.
We are all
Our listeners will be with us.
We are going to watch the game together. We are going to analyze the game after it's done. Will we be analyzing the Patriots' chances and the path continuing based on everything that's going on? You guys, obviously, since you're picking the Pats to win, it'll still be available. But will you see enough from this Patriots team today to make you feel better or worse about the path going forward, Mike Dussault?
I'm not really worried about the path. I'm not
Not the question. I didn't ask if you're worried about the path. Will you feel better or worse about the path after today's game?
I mean, probably the same because I think it's all about Baltimore. But
yeah, I think you'll feel worse about the path. You might feel better about the team, but you'll feel worse.
And that's
about
what
the path
I just like to feel better, maybe about some new guys. That's really what it's about for me. Is maybe the tight ends or just JJ Taylor. Some feel good moments, but
you could get some feel good moments from Gunner again today.
That'd be great.
He's given you some feel good moments here in the past few weeks.
Sure.
So
I just want next Monday night to be a little bit more intrigued than like this whole week we're going to spend. Well, the Patriots are officially out of it. That week, I'd rather, like, even if we're fooling ourselves about playoffs, I just would like to have a fun week building up to Monday night.
It's been almost 2 years, Hardy. I can't get a read on him. In one breath, he says, "Well, the path is still real. I'm not really interested in the path." And then his whole sense of being for the week is so they're still alive, even if the path is.
There's a little more interest, even if they're not alive.
I don't get them. I don't get him.
I just liked your answer. Sure. It's kind of like, you want to see me feed a mouse to my snake? Yes. Sure. What are we talking about? Of course.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's meet back here in hopefully, I'm going to say 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Whoa. I like it.
All right.
Bold.
So we will be starting the post-game show just a few ticks before 4 p.m. All right?
That'd be awesome.
That's how it's going to work today. For everybody on the Patriots pregame social, thank you for listening and watching.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.